Saturday the 23rd of November 2013, the 50th anniversary date of Doctor Who. 50 years to the date that the first episode of An Unearthly Child, the first ever Doctor Who story, aired. However, there were celebrations and events throughout the year of 2013 celebrating this landmark occasion for the programme. Here are some of the highlights that took place throughout 2013. Please note these are not in any specific order. Throughout the year, the British Film Institute, or BFI, screened a story for each Doctor from January to December, plus the 50th anniversary special itself. January had An Unearthly Child for the first Doctor, February had The Tomb of the Cybermen for the second. For the March release, the third Doctor story, The Mind of Evil, was screened. This story had previously only been in black and white following the colour films being destroyed or lost, as the third Doctor's era did have a couple of stories from his era where they lost the colour versions of those stories. These episodes had to be recoloured for video and later DVD and Blu-ray release. The Mind of Evil's 6 episodes were the last ones to be colourised, and were done so by Stuart Humphreys, aka Babel Colour, and released on DVD in June. However, before they got a DVD release, they were screened at the BFI in March. The screening for the 4th Doctor was The Ropes of Death in April. The 5th Doctor's final story, The Caves of Androzani, was screened in May, and the 2 Doctors for the 6th Doctor in June. July's screening was Remembrance of the Daleks for the 7th Doctor, and then for some reason they decided to move the 8th Doctor's screening of the TV movie to October, and instead did the 9th and 10th Doctor screenings in August and September, those stories being Bad Wolf in the Parting of the Ways and The Stolen Earth Journey's End, respectively. However, we can say as of October 2013, Doctor Who the movie, the TV movie, has been screened in cinemas. Well, a cinema, technically. So, it's officially a cinematic movie now. The 50th anniversary special, The Day of the Doctor, and the docudrama, An Adventure in Space and Time, were screened in November, and 2 11th Doctor stories, The 11th Hour and The Name of the Doctor, were screened in December. Another monthly event that ran from January to November on BBC America were 11 documentaries called The Doctors Revisited, each one centering on each of the 11 Doctors at the time, from the 1st Doctor through to the 11th Doctor. And each documentary were accompanied by an omnibus edition of a story from each of those Doctors' eras. They were also broadcast in the UK on UK TV Watch, now W. I don't know why they just reduced it to W. Watch was a good title, and it was originally called UK TV Gold. I'm not sure why they keep changing the name for that channel. W broadcast 2 documentaries per weekend for 5 weeks, and then 1 on the 6th weekend, which was the weekend before the anniversary weekend. The stories that accompanied the documentaries were The Aztecs for the 1st Doctor, The Tomb of the Cybermen for the 2nd, Spearhead from Space, the 3rd Doctor's first story, Pyramids of Mars for the 4th, Earthshock for the 5th, Vengeance on Varos for the 6th. When it came to the 7th Doctor, things were a little bit different. In America, they showed Remembrance of the Daleks, but in the UK, they aired Battlefield. So I'm not sure why they changed it. And they did the same for the 10th Doctor, where in America they broadcast The Stolen Earth and Journey's End, and in the UK they broadcast Silence in the Library and Forest of the Dead. At least it's in the same season this time. Of course, the 8th Doctor's was the TV movie, and the 9th Doctor, his final story, Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways, were aired, and finally The Impossible Astronaut and Day of the Moon for the 11th Doctor. Another strange decision was that BBC America aired their 11th Doctor documentary 1 day after the 50th anniversary. Yes, in the UK it was actually broadcast 7 days earlier to the 50th anniversary and 8 days earlier to the US broadcast, which was a bit odd. So technically the UK got Doctors Revisited episode 11 before America did. How odd. And if we look at the list, we can tell a couple of episodes from the Omnibus Edition broadcast alongside the revisited documentaries are the same stories that were broadcast at the screen at the BFI. Of course, the TV movie is the only one they could use for both at the time, and even with Night of the Doctor's inclusion, the TV movie is still the only one they can technically use for the 8th Doctor. They also had The Tomb of the Cybermen and Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways shown at BFI and as the Doctors Revisited. And the American Doctors Revisited for the 7th and 10th Doctors were also BFI screenings in the UK, those being Remembrance of the Daleks and The Stolen Earth Journey's End. However, the UK changed those revisited stories to be Battlefield and Silence in the Library, Forest of the Dead, respectively. I'm not entirely sure why, but it does avoid clashing with the BFI screenings, and they had clashed 3 times already, so to avoid doing it 5 times. The Doctor Who Classic Series DVD range was coming to a close, with only a few stories left to be released, and many of them were released throughout 2013. These were the Legacy Collection, which contained Sharda, the 1992 Linking Material version, as well as the documentary More Than 30 Years in the TARDIS. Also released were The Reign of Terror, The Mind of Evil, which I mentioned earlier, had its black and white episodes colorized for DVD release. The Ice Warriors, Scream of the Shalka, Terror of the Zygons, The 10th Planet, and The Enemy of the World. Terror of the Zygons and The 10th Planet were actually released slightly earlier in other sets before getting their own individual releases in the autumn. For Terror of the Zygons, it was released as part of the 4th Doctor time capsule set that was released in June. This also included a DVD copy of Genesis of the Daleks and an audiobook version of Genesis of the Daleks, plus many other goodies from the time capsule box set, including an exclusive 4th Doctor figure, as well as a handwritten note from Tom Baker himself and a 4th Doctor sonic screwdriver, and a booklet about the 4th Doctor. The 10th Planet was included as part of the Regenerations box set, which was also released in June and featured the 1st to 7th Doctors and 9th and 10th Doctors regeneration stories in the box set, which were, of course, the 10th Planet, the War Games, Planet of Spiders, Logopolis, The Case of Androzani, Time in the Rani, the TV movie, Bad Wolf and the Parting of the Ways, and The End of Time. However, this set was released early ahead of the 11th Doctor's regeneration in The Time of the Doctor, so if it waited till the next year, then they probably would have included The Time of the Doctor. 3 stories released on DVD this year also received animated episodes of episodes that were missing. These were The Reign of Terror, which was actually delayed from 2012, as was the Legacy Collection, The Ice Warriors, and The 10th Planet. Also released on DVD was a surprise new edition, The Enemy of the World, which, along with the Web of Fear, had its missing episodes found. And in October, it was announced that The Enemy of the World was now complete. All episodes survived, and the Web of Fear, all episodes but 1 survived. This episode was apparently also found, but it has been believed to have been stolen, which is really annoying for us fans. Hopefully the Web of Fear Part 3 will end up back in the archives one day. One day, hopefully for the 60th anniversary, if we can find it in time. The Web of Fear, with its missing episode reconstructed, and the Moonbase, which had its 2 missing episodes animated, were released on DVD in 2014. And this wrapped up the Classic Series DVD collection, apart from the Underwater Menaces release in 2015, and the resurgence of Classic Series DVDs released with the new animated or partly animated stories, starting with The Power of the Daleks in 2016. 2013 also saw the first Classic Who Blu-ray release, Spearhead from Space. Spearhead from Space was filmed on 16mm film and mostly on location, so this story was able to be transferred to HD and released on Blu-ray. This would be the first of the Classic Who Blu-rays. The next one would be the TV movie in 2016, and then again, alongside the DVDs, they would release the animated or part animated stories, starting with The Power of the Daleks in 2017, and then Classic Who complete season box sets would begin being released in 2018, with Season 12. Also released on DVD in 2013 were special edition DVDs of The Ark in Space, The Aztecs, The Visitation, Inferno, and The Green Death. These were the last 5 special edition releases, apart from the part animated version of Sharda in 2017, although the title says Sharda due to the 2013 DVD release. This would be Sharda Special Edition or Sharda Animated Edition. The Enemy of the World and The Power of the Daleks have also since received special editions as well, and Blu-ray special editions for Sharda and The Power of the Daleks. The Peter Cushing Dalek movies, Doctor and the Daleks and Daleks Invasion Earth 2150 AD, were also released on DVD for the 3rd time, following original releases in 2 film sets in 2002 and 2006. This time they released individually, and they were also released on Blu-ray for the first time, both individually and as a 2 film set. They would receive steelbooks in 2014 for Daleks 2150 AD and 2015 for Doctor and the Daleks. Recently, they have been scheduled to have another Blu-ray release, though this may only be in North America. All revised series releases were DVD and Blu-ray, starting with Series 7 Part 2, then followed by the complete 7th series and The Day of the Doctor. In North America, The Snowman was released separately to the Series 7 Part 2 release, as opposed to that story being included as part of Series 7 Part 2 in Europe and Australia and New Zealand releases. An Adventure in Space and Time was also released on DVD. However, it only had a Blu-ray copy in North America, which included a DVD disc of the story and An Unearthly Child as a bonus extra on that release. In September 2014, a 50th anniversary collection DVD and Blu-ray box set would be released. This would include An Adventure in Space and Time on Blu-ray. This would be the only Blu-ray release of An Adventure in Space and Time so far, as well as containing the name of the Doctor, the day of the Doctor, the time of the Doctor, the minisodes, the night of the Doctor, and the last day, the Five-ish Doctors reboot, and many of the 50th anniversary programs from the time, such as the Ultimate Guide and the Brian Cox Science Lecture. But there was sad news on the horizon. Matt Smith announced his departure from the role on the 1st of June 2013, following the broadcast of Series 7. He decided after 3 series it was time to step down. 2 months later, on the 4th of August, Doctor Who Live, The Next Doctor, aired on BBC One. Hosted by Zoe Ball, it saw the announcement of Peter Capaldi as the 12th Doctor. July saw the 3rd Doctor Who at the Proms take place at the Royal Albert Hall, and these proms featured music from across the 50 years of the show. In October, the 50-year trailer for The Day of the Doctor was released, which show off part of the history of the show, as well as promotes the 50th anniversary special itself. Around a similar time was also the actual trailer for the 50th anniversary special and the release of its poster. On to the actual television stories of the year. From the 30th of March to the 18th of May 2013, Series 7 Part 2, Episodes 6 to 13, aired, with the finale, The Name of the Doctor, featuring a surprise reveal of the War Doctor, played by John Hurt. Filming for The Day of the Doctor, the 50th anniversary special, took place around the same time, and filming for the Christmas special, The Time of the Doctor, took place in September. The 2 specials were aired in November and December, respectively. Several minisodes were released on the complete 7th series box set, The Night of the Doctor and The Last Day, which served as prologues for The Day of the Doctor, the former of which saw Paul McGann return to reprise his role as the 8th Doctor, which saw his Doctor regenerate into John Hurt's War Doctor. This is the second and currently final 8th Doctor television appearance outside of archive footage. And now onto the juicy stuff, the stuff that was broadcast around the same time as the 50th anniversary, the special programming, shall we say. Again, these are not in a specific order. We'll start off with the most notable, the 50th anniversary docudrama, An Adventure in Space and Time, written by Mark Gatiss, shown on BBC Two 2 days before the 50th anniversary. It starred David Bradley as William Hartnell, Jessica Raine as Verity Lambert, Sacha Dhawan as Waris Hussein, the director of An Unearthly Child, Leslie Manfield as William Hartnell's wife, Heather, and Brian Cox as Sidney Newman. The docudrama focuses on the origins and genesis of Doctor Who, with Brian Cox and Verity Lambert starting up the programme, hiring William Hartnell to play the lead, with Waris Hussein directing the first story. And eventually, as the docudrama goes on, it focuses on William Hartnell and his journey throughout the making of the programme, especially following the departure of Verity Lambert and his decline in health, eventually ending with him about to film his regeneration scenes in the 10th Planet. An Adventure in Space and Time was shown on the Thursday before The Day of the Doctor. A day before, on the Wednesday, also on BBC Two, was a 2-hour lecture/science programme conducted by Professor Brian Cox, looking at many of the science aspects of Doctor Who, and even featuring a appearance of the 11th Doctor himself, with Brian Cox also getting to go on board the TARDIS. Also shown on BBC Two was a special episode of the show Culture Show, which was hosted by Matthew Sweet. This programme explored the wider cultural significance of the show, and CBBC aired a special programme called 12 Again, which saw past and present stars recount their memories of the show. BBC Three dedicated an entire weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, to a top 10 monsters programme, where people would vote in their top 10 monsters of the show, and then BBC Three would air a 3-part list of them, as well as show episodes alongside these monsters. This took place from the Friday through to Sunday prior to the 50th anniversary, around the similar time of the Night of the Doctor's release and the 11th Doctor's The Doctor Revisited documentary on UK TV Watch being broadcast. Also shown on BBC Three was Doctor Who The Ultimate Guide, which was a documentary but also saw scripted segments with Matt Smith and Jenna Coleman. And BBC 4 showed newly remastered film versions of An Unearthly Child, the first ever Doctor Who story. BBC Radio also had a few special programmes for the 50th anniversary. It included a 90-minute documentary titled Who is Doctor Who, and a 30-minute programme hosted by David Quarterneck called The Blackest Guide to Doctor Who, both on BBC Radio 2, and one of Graham Norton's Saturday Live BBC Radio 2 programmes was hosted from the Doctor Who celebration event at the Excel. BBC Radio 1 made a programme about Time Lord Rock, which is music inspired by the show, and BBC Radio 4 broadcast a 3-hour special called Who Made Who, about the world that inspired the show. BBC Radio 4, by the way, is the radio station that usually has Doctor Who radio plays, specifically Big Finisher radio plays, broadcast occasionally, including the 8th Doctor adventures back when it was BBC Radio 7. Speaking of Big Finish, they released several releases in 2013. There is so many, but specifically for the 50th anniversary was a 11-episode audiobook series called Destiny of the Doctor, which again was released each story was released monthly from January to November of the year, and later got a complete collection box set in 2014, a special TARDIS one, and then a smaller compact one in about 2016, both of which including an additional documentary on a 12 disc. These stories had the interconnecting theme of the 11th Doctor just popping up in each story before coming together somehow in his own episode at the very end. Big Finish's monthly range usually has a yearly trilogy focusing on some things. Sometimes it's with one specific Doctor, sometimes it's across 3 Doctors. In 2013, they had the 1963 trilogy. The first one was 1963, Fanfare for the Common Man, released in September and starring the 5th Doctor. Then it was 1963, The Space Race, released in October and starring the 6th Doctor. And then finally in November was 1963, The Assassination Games, which featured the 7th Doctor. Big Finish's main release for the 50th anniversary, which was released in October, was The Light at the End, a 2-hour 50th anniversary special, which saw the 4th through to 8th Doctors caught up in an event caused by the Master, with the first 3 Doctors also caught into this event, but in more minor roles. Doctor Who magazine released their 50th anniversary comic strip, John Smith and the Common Man, in November as part of their November Doctor Who magazine issue, which also celebrated the 50th anniversary special. Just after the 50th anniversary special was aired, another Doctor Who Live was broadcast, Doctor Who Live, The After Party, which was broadcast on BBC Three, and was hosted by Zoe Ball and Rick Edwards. And my fellow members of the Whoniversals wanted me to talk about this, so I'll talk about it. So Doctor Who The After Party was supposed to be a celebration of the show, get people's reactions, talk with Matt Smith, Jenna Coleman, Stephen Moffat, John Hurt about the special, talk with fellow companions and other people related to the show about what they thought, as well as to promote the 5-ish Doctors reboot. And also because 20th of November is also somehow One Direction Day, they also had a live sync-up thing with One Direction, or at least 2 members of One Direction in Los Angeles. Don't ask me why, they just decided to do that. They thought it might be because it's a special occasion, maybe people would like it. However, it seemed that the presenters, or at least as far as Mark Gatiss and the audience were concerned, didn't show an awful lot of respect to classic companions, having to squeeze past many of them and not giving the majority of them much time to talk, or give much of a reaction to. And Mark Gatiss, who was there at the after party, thought that their behaviour was disgraceful. The sync up with One Direction was also a disaster, as the syncing had a 15-second delay over in Los Angeles, meaning that this thing was kind of an embarrassment. The press and the audience did not take kindly to this after party. Personally, I think an after party would be a good idea. However, I think if it was to be done again, it would have to be handled better. The presenters would have to give more time for the people that are there to give their thoughts, opinions, and try to treat them with a bit more respect. Although I'm sure Zoe Ball and Rick Edwards did not mean to show disrespect, but the way that they were handling things, or maybe the way they were being told by the director or whoever to get the programme moving, perhaps then caused a bit of problems. But I do think having another after party would work if done right. So not having to rush through it, getting everyone's thoughts on the programme and showing respect throughout the evening. On the plus side, also released on the 50th anniversary date on the BBC Red Button, was Peter Davison's own short film that served as a 50th anniversary special for the classic Doctors. It saw him, Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy attempting to take part in the 50th anniversary special itself, and comedic antics ensue. Many other Doctor Who related merchandise and material was released across the year, but I'm mainly focusing on the 50th anniversary programmes and releases, as well as notable releases and programmes that year. There were also several conventions, including one at Excel, which I mentioned Graham Norton hosted one of his shows from, and also many fan productions were released in 2013, of course. 2013 also saw the end of the 11th Doctor's era as the incumbent Doctor, and the beginning of the 12th Doctor's era as the incumbent Doctor. It also closed out the 8th Doctor's televised era and was the full televised era for the War Doctor and the mysterious The Curator, who is implied in the Day of the Doctor to be a future incarnation of the Doctor, which is later confirmed in a later Titan Comics comic strip. What's certain is that 2013 was a massive year for Doctor Who and an exciting time for fans of the programme, as we were leading up to the anniversary itself and all this special programming for it. We had the ups, we had the downs, we had the all-arounds, but ultimately it was all worth it, and we all got really well treated, maybe even spoiled. Yeah, we only got half a series of the regular television programme, and it's not a popular one at that. Despite that, we still got lots of big programming around the 50th, including the 50th anniversary special itself, and we got lots of special activities going across the year as well. So in conclusion, 2013 was a mega year to be a Doctor Who fan, or even just a Doctor Who viewer, as it was celebrating its golden anniversary in style. Hopefully the 60th anniversary will have at least half as good as treatment when it's its turn. So that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I shall see you guys next time, where I will be taking a look at the 50th anniversary special itself. Until then, thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of Matt Smith month, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.